All right, guys, we got my truck back in the shop. Finally, the stock springs will be here today. So what we're going to end up doing while we're waiting on that is we're going to get the rear suspension dropped down to the reverse leveled. So basically what we're going to do, if you want to reverse level your truck, we're going to take, you guys see those 3 spacers on the bottom? We're going to take and put them on the top. So I've already had this suspension off before, so this should be pretty simple. We're going to get this drop down as low as possible as we can in the rear, and then we're going to flip this around and then take the front springs. And I'm probably not going to have this truck thrown back together today, but I am going to take the front springs and then we will start throwing them in this, because this is already dropped enough for me to get in here and put the new springs in, whereas with like that one, I'm going to have to drop the right there, the track bar, so that I can get it dropped down low enough. We have an extra set of jack stands, so let's just get the simple stuff done, because I know that once I pull the front suspension, I'm going to be too lazy and I'm not going to want to do the rear. So I need to just get the rear out of the way. All right, so you guys knew I've been running Timberins for a while now. I like them. They are not for everybody, though. I will tell you that. If you do not like a bumpy ride, don't run these. These I have in contact with the axle, you can see 100% of the time. Now, if you're going to reverse level your truck and you do have airbags or a system like this, you need to cut this bracket off. Now, if I can show you, if you look up in there, see how the holes are already there? So you don't have to re-drill the holes. You just have to tap them for whatever bolt you're going to be using. So in this case, I'm going to be using, wow, that's actually, I'm surprised that came out. We're not going to be reusing that bolt, but whatever bolt you pick, you need to tap that hole. On 2-wheel drive trucks, this bracket's not here at all. So just keep that in mind. 4-wheel drives, they have this because the axle's so much further away. 2-wheel drives, none of that. So I'm gonna go remove the other one and hope that it comes out pretty easily. And then I might actually just not even install it for now because I don't plan on towing here in a bit, but I do at least just want to get this done today, so I might cut that off at another date. So next step, get the U-bolts off. Mine were a 22 millimeter. That's the back one, that's the front one. So I'm gonna drop the suspension a little bit. What I usually like to do is keep this clamped. And unfortunately, I don't have my clamps on me today, so I gotta figure that one out. But basically, drop the axle down a little bit. Axle needs to come down a little bit more. So what you're basically gonna do is separate these two. There's gonna be some nuts on the bottom, or actually bolt heads on the bottom and then nuts on the top. Realistically, you just need to get a wrench down there. If you've replaced them, I can't remember or not if I did. So if they're just a round head, what you're gonna have to do is take some vice grips and grab it and then get the nut off on the top. So since I didn't have the clamps, I just jacked a jack up under it, moved this out of the way. This is my centering pin. You can see it sits in there pretty perfect, so it keeps my axle center. I'm not sure how many of these have the hole that goes down the center. Hopefully a lot, but we will see. So now I just got to get these from under there. Don't ever hit these threads though. Make sure that you have a nut, which I'm going to grease the ever-loving shit out of these. So definitely not putting these back in like that. Had to get that cut down for inside of there. So that'll sit all the way down in there flush. We got these bolts. I put anti-seize in there. Hopefully no more rusty crusty. But this stuff loves to fill up with it. That'll get probably welded in there over time due to some other circumstances. But I'm gonna get this dropped and then pick up the axle and then we'll put our U-bolts in. And that's how it should look when it's done. All tight against the bottom, everything torqued down. Haven't gotten quite that far to the torque specs yet, but I'm gonna wait until I get the other side and then we'll torque both. But you can see there's 3 little spacers are now on top, nothing on the bottom. And you do have to keep at least 1 overload on the bottom or 1 spacer on the bottom. Reason being is if you take and just put these 4 leaves, there's no hole down the center of these, so you can't center the axle. So it would also be wise, once you do the front, I'm going to take this thing in for an entire alignment, because once you drop the front down, especially 3 inches like we're doing, it's going to change the alignment. So the steering wheel, whereas it would be straight, if you drop the axle down, it's going to cock the steering wheel. Now, I can go and straighten my steering wheel myself, but I'm just going to go get an alignment, because then I know the front and the rear is tight, and I know this rear end, unless for some reason we blow the rear end up, I never have to get another rear end, which I think if I were to ever do that, I might just end up going and buying a dually axle, which I thought about taking this dually axle because he said we could swap, and then putting these wheels back on, which would ultimately push my wheels out another 2 inches, and then I was going to get 2-inch spacers for the front. But I haven't been quite able to commit to that. I don't think we're going to do that. I might just end up getting 2-inch spacers all around. That's going to happen eventually. So for shits and giggles, here's what it looks like right now. Obviously the axle's tilted a little bit. You can see it's got some wheel camber, but that's how low it sits now. And you can see the distance from before. So, it's on a jack stand. So, now we get the other side. Alright, so you guys can see, you gotta knock this centering pin out. That is really wedged in there, which is a good thing, just keep that in mind. But we gotta knock it out. Doing this one-handed is kinda ass. There we go. So we'll cut that down, get our vice grip down underneath. You can see there is no bolt heads, it's just factory bolts. You got to use a vice grip. All right, so this side's not so easy. That one came off very easily. This one is fighting me to the point where it's actually wearing itself down. That was about double the size, and we've ground off, I'd say a little over a quarter, not maybe a half. You can see all the little shavings down there. It is, even with a very good set of vice grips, these things have been a tank. I even cleaned out the teeth, and unfortunately, the thing is tapered down on the bottom. So this one's been fighting me. I'm trying to keep as much tension on it as possible. It's gotten super hot, so I've poured some PB Blaster in it. And, I mean, it's moving, but I don't know if we're going to be able to reuse this bolt or not. Just hit it for about 30 seconds. You can see it smoking. Trying my damnedest not to cut it. I was so pissed because I'm like, I should have been done with this an hour ago. And then bam, the nut comes off. Can't touch it though, it's super hot. Whew. Yeah, that was, that sucked. Try to get this back. Keep all the tension on it. Gotta get that out of there. Yeah, I should have been done with this an hour ago. They never take this long. Worst case scenario, I have new bolts and I can just cut them, but not in this case. Grab that, throw that over there. Yep, that's hot. That's super hot. See, these things always suck. Look at the threads on that one, which was fine, and then this one. That's terrible. Let me get you a better. There we go. So that one's thin, that one's thick. Now, these things do not matter. These are literally just here to hold pressure on the spring pack until you get that and the U-bolts on, and then that crushes these things down. So these aren't super important. It's not like if these snap, nothing's gonna happen. Just keep that in mind when you're going through with this. Yes, you should probably get new bolts. I am not going to, but you can see just how much of that thing I've worn down. Look at that taper. Now, did I learn my lesson? No. Am I going to reuse these bolts? Absolutely. Now, if this ever happens again and I ever have to change these for any reason, which I don't think I'll ever have to do these, this spring pack, unless for some reason I want to upgrade, I don't think I'll ever have to take these bolts out again. But for some reason I ever do, next time I am absolutely cutting them and we are replacing them. Alright, for those that are wondering, I did not learn my lesson. Now, on a customer truck, I would absolutely not let this fly. You're getting new bolts, you're getting all that stuff. This is my truck, I do what I want. I do not care. So, I'm going to get that guy cut down, get this axle back up, and then we are technically Carolina squatted, which we're going to have to get rid of as quick as possible. Alright, here's the final product of the rear. You can see how much lower it is. There still is suspension travel. We do not have any bump stops right now, but that shouldn't be an issue. You can see how much higher the front is. Let's see. Right about there. Let's see my measuring. That dropped us a shitload, actually. So I'm going to get this pulled out, and then wife is on the way with the new front springs. So we're going to have this done today, and I'll see what I can do about that one. We'll see. Plans keep changing, but it is what it is. So if you have any friends that are thinking about coming out the closet, just show them this video. Just tell them to do this to their truck. That way everyone will know and they won't have to feel so awkward about coming out. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I made a boo-boo when I put my own truck back together, right? You guys see that? I was wondering why there was a little poppy noise every now and again, and it was this shock. So nothing wrong with the shock, it just I forgot to put the shock bolt back in. Probably because I had it out like 400 times. So we'll figure that out when that crosses that bridge, but that one has all the shock bolts. Mistakes I don't make on other people's vehicles, I make on my own. But that's what happens when you rush. So now this thing, oh yeah, I already got the shock out. Oh, hey, look at that. So you guys can see the little bolts that I have up in there. I'm gonna drop this down slowly. You guys will see. A little faster than that. You guys will see that as you lift the vehicle, this axle wants to go back, so that's why you need the control arms. But you can see there's one bolt. So basically just fender washer bolts for, well, for any of these third gens, but they worked great for what they were. They're a little bit of a pain in the ass. Come on. There we go. And the third one. Now I did make sure, that is one thing I'm very OCD about certain things, and all of my bolts matching. That is one of those things. 3 14mm bolts. But for some reason, I don't think that this is a factory bar, because these springs should not just fall out like that. So I'm wondering about that bar. We'll check the alignment when we get everything back together, but I may need to order a new or a factory bar, because this shouldn't be able to come down this low, in my opinion. All right, so we have the new spring. This is a Ram 3500 spring versus mine. So obviously it'll drop the front. That's what we wanted. So specifically, this spring was for a Ram 3500 with a manual transmission. So they should be a little bit beefier than the Ram 2500 ones, but we'll see. I also got to make sure that I put these on right, because they do look like they have a specific orientation. You can see the differences. I think the bottom's bigger. All right, passenger side, not so easy, but I've created a bomb. Does, you know what? For shits and giggles, I'll let it go off for you guys. And, Jesus, state. I'm trying to get it to go back a little bit. There we go. So, if, you know, I put my foot there, and we put that there, I wonder. Look at that. And I caught it on camera. Do not do that. Just saying, don't do that. If you're gonna do that, make sure you put like a little loop down here so that it stays in place. Pop them bad boys up in there. So I forgot about it, and I never painted the shocks. I'll just buy new ones next year when I remember to do it. So this side's done. I'm gonna get this side jacked up, put the wheel on, and then we're gonna get the other side. Definitely wasn't fun, but it is what it is. You guys will see, I got all matching nuts, all the same. So matching hardware, courtesy of the bolt bin over there that I... All right, one side is on. It was, obviously the other side's on a jack stand, so this actually does go up a little bit more, which will nicely match the back. Everything's kind of like cocked right now with the other side, but I gotta get this tower off. I'm not reusing the customer one. He can keep his and I'm keeping mine. So this needs to come off, and if you guys notice, this is the best way to do it, because it's pretty seized, so the shock just spins. All right, there's the front, there's the back. This is gonna sag a little bit more once we pull it out and drive it. That might do the same thing back there. So hopefully it comes down a little bit more, but it is definitely a huge, huge difference. This truck now, you can see with the track bar taken off how low it goes, so we can just pop this in. I am gonna have to check. Let's see, that side. It's hard to tell. we'll check and see it later. Once the suspension's settled and everything, make sure that that track bar is correct, because if it's not, I'm gonna have to order another one. But that is gonna be going and getting an alignment probably in the next 2 months, because I'd say I'd do it now, but I'm probably not gonna do that. So these should just go right back in. So I need a smidgen, and I don't know. I think the spring compressor, mine is not here, and both of his are MIA as well. So I'm gonna get this buckled down and then popped into place. All right, first spring is in place. I could not take that out by hand if I wanted to. I know it looks like it could come out, but it's not going to. I also sprayed out the bottom where all that rust is at with the gun here. So we're gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna try to get as much of it installed as I can today. And I will let you guys know at a later date what we're gonna be doing about this exhaust. We do have some updated news, but I'm not gonna give you any news until we know 100% that it's confirmed. All right, so I'm not gonna spoil the whole thing, but this is what we got on. There you go, bam, boom. Like I said, you guys will see it next video. This thing will be all together and done, which will be tomorrow for me. But for you guys, probably 2 days. I'm going to get my tools cleaned up and everything. Like I said about the timbrins, we'll put them on at a later date. I'm not super worried about them right now. We'll see if I end up needing them. If I got to tow something and it hits the ground, I might have to put them back on. But I want to see where the suspension settles. And then we can decide, does this need to come up a little bit? Which then I would just put it on the timbrins. But I'm probably... Actually, I guess that part does come out. I forgot. I thought I was going to have to cut these, but I forgot I do have to cut that piece off the bracket and tap it and all that. So I'm not going to deal with that right now. For what it is, you guys can see these timbrins definitely get used, because that was flat. And it is no longer flat. It is bowed like the axle. So let's get everything cleaned up and we are good to go. All right, I'll give you guys a bit of a peek here. There's what she looks like. Bam. See, I like that look a lot more. I've never liked lifted trucks. Reverse leveled, drop down in the rear, whatever you want to call it. But she is level. Go give her a good drive. And there you go. I'll let you guys know if anything rubs. But this will not be the final form yet. We still got to get rust work done. And, ooh, paint matching. Which paint matching will be a long time down the road. But that teal color that we've been running, that's going to be a lot more. We're going to be running the shit out of that a lot more. So it's on the bike and it's going to be on this. I was going to do the springs, but I didn't get to it. Here, let's see. No rub on that side, but I did hear it rub when I went this way. Oh, alright, well, whatever. I got full lock. See how it is when we go down here. Really flex it. No? Oh, a little bit. Nah. Oh well. Oh well. See how straight the steering wheel is? Yep, she crooked. I told you guys. So I can either straighten that myself. They're straight. Not bad. I could straighten it myself, or I could go and get it aligned, which I might just do both, honestly, because it probably won't be another 2 months until I get it aligned, because I'm kind of lazy when it comes to my own stuff. I figured I would park. Let's go over Bertha. We'll see where the suspension's settled. You guys let me know. Does it look level? To me, it kind of does. The only thing is that little bit of lip right there, I mean, drops a couple of millimeters. We are on a gun range. But she looks good. I like it. Scraped a little bit. I think it was this piece here. I think. Yeah, I have to push that back in, but besides that, it's looking good. Axle dump is a little bit closer to the ground. Not a little bit, a lot of it. You guys will see under there. We are still running the 8-inch axle dump with the 5-inch straight pipe. Because fuck the EPA. So, that's gonna pretty much do it. She's looking sick. Once the rust is all fixed, injectors are in it. Really don't know what else to do after that besides the paint. Might end up over the winter time, depending on what we use the truck for. Might throw a cap on it, but just to piss people off, I guess. I don't know. I like the caps. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys need any work, cpstevemiller.com. Go check out the second channel, youtube.com/@StephenMiller2. All links are down in the description. See you guys in the next video. Later.